and welcome to our brand new podcast series, Decade of Excellence, Reimagining Human Health. Through this series, we'll be celebrating the 10th anniversary of our bioengineering department here at the University of Texas at Dallas. My name is Shalini Prasad, and I am the department head for the bioengineering department.
Thank you all for joining in on this particular episode. Today, I'm talking to the winners of the student pitch track competition of the Big Idea competition that happened here in Dallas. And the winners are Glaucomedi. And today I have the winning team, which comprises of 2 students and 1 clinician from UT Southwestern. And they're going to talk to us about what got them started, and what this experience has been like, and what entrepreneurship means to them individually, and how they choose to impact, human life through this work. So welcome to this conversation, Jacob, Hebah, and Karanjit. I really appreciate you all doing this. And first of all, congratulations on winning the Big Idea competition student track. I'm really proud of this great achievement, especially in the 10th year of bioengineering here at UT Dallas. So with that, let's get started. Perhaps we can go in that order. Can you tell us a little bit about what your winning device is all about and how you all came together as a team to work on this idea?
Thank you so much, Dr. Prasad. And maybe I can get the conversation going. Our device is called Liquid Glaucoma Shunt. It is a special device to control intraocular pressure in patients with glaucoma. A little background on glaucoma: it is the leading cause of blindness worldwide, and affects over 4 million Americans in the U.S. and over 75 million people globally. It is a very complex disease and has a lot of risk factors, but the main ones are a high intraocular pressure. That means the eye pressure goes very high, and then family history and being nearsighted or myopia, diseases like hypertension, diabetes. So it's a very complex disease, but the one that we can really control is the intraocular pressure. So for centuries, physicians have been trying to control the pressure. The first option currently is using eye drops, which are very good, but there is a limit to what they can do. And the second one is lasers. Again, they have all their shortcomings. The most popular way to control pressures nowadays is using a glaucoma drainage device, or GDDs. Unfortunately, these devices are bulky. They require a lot of time and dissection. There's a lot of bleeding, and in turn, the body reacts with a lot of fibrosis or scar tissue formation. So there's a pretty high, unpredictable, pretty high failure rate and very high unpredictability. So our team, we just got excited about dealing with, glaucoma issues. And I threw the idea of so right now our shunt is much smaller than the ones available otherwise. It also has a pressure-sensitive valve. It releases the aqueous humor in a very controlled fashion. And we also have plans to coat it with antifibrotic agent mitomycin C. In addition, we have devised 2 microforceps that are going to make insertion of these devices very easy and cut down on the time. In short, we have identified features that are causing unpredictability in current shunts, and we look forward to making a prototype and using in patients very soon.
That's a great overview about the problem statement, Karanjit. So, Jacob and Hebah, how do you as students interact with the clinician towards, understanding the engineering design that goes for this complex medical problem?
The collaboration between UTD and UT Southwestern has been outstanding. We were able to finally understand what the brochures of translational medicine had been preaching for decades, which is benchtop to bedside research, something that UTD Bioengineering has been engaging with more and more recently, especially with the creation of the Department of Bioengineering at UT Southwestern. And so by working with clinicians, we were able to identify significant medical problems. And, with our engineering knowledge, we're able to develop solutions, using computational fluid dynamics and computer-aided design with SolidWorks and other softwares to develop devices and go through several iterations and designs and prototype, whether it's in silico studies or in vitro studies, designing experiments that can really, make these devices more optimal and efficient for these patients. We're able to go ahead and solve significant problems that these patients are facing, which is really, these failing devices. And so by innovating treatment modalities using our engineering background and collaborating with physicians and other healthcare professionals, we're able to finally understand what are the driving problems that these patients are facing and how can we use our engineering background to solve those.
That is very interesting to hear, especially the relationship between engineering and medicine. And you're absolutely right. The ability to leverage the ecosystems both at the UT Southwestern Medical School and UTD and building a true partnership across it. So going back to the disease itself, Karanjit, could you perhaps talk about, glaucoma being the silent disease that causes blindness and its impact, especially when you think about people with diabetes and the lack of awareness there is of this disease. And then this platform, this new medical device that your team is working towards, how may it perhaps help people being made aware of this disease and how they may be using this? So if you could speak a little bit to that. Thank you.
Well, if I can add a little bit here, one of the reasons why surgical options are not popular among clinicians is the post-op. There is a lot of unpredictability. I think once we have a device which is easy to insert and doesn't require any complex materials to insert and doesn't require too much dissection, I think this would increase the awareness, improved outcomes, both in the clinical area and patients as well. So I see patients every day and they are very hesitant about glaucoma surgeries because they're just not happy with the long-term care that these patients need because of large dissection. So I think overall making it a minimally invasive glaucoma surgery would be beneficial to everyone.
I also want to add to that, these devices have been shown to fail to have a failure rate of 10% every year. And so if you look at a 5-year timeline, that's 50% failure rate for these devices. And so the failure rates are astronomical. Clinicians want a device that is more predictable, like Dr. Kooner was saying. And we have spent thousands of hours identifying what are the problems with the current devices in the market and how can we develop engineering solutions and design, and not reinvent the wheel, but design a better device that can minimize those complications post-op. And so with longevity in mind and a lot of time and research put into the overall design, I mean, we've been through 50 design iterations, and now we're at the prototyping phase where we're starting to validate our computational studies using, CFD and ANSYS and Fluent. So, now we're at the stage where we can see the impact that our engineering solutions have had, so far with the augmentation of these devices.
Thank you for making this great explanation of the use case, which is very important to understand because while there is some level of awareness of glaucoma, and coming from the Indian subcontinent myself, where it is very prevalent, but the understanding and the knowledge that goes behind the need to get this disease assessed early and then following it through is perhaps not where it needs to be. What you're saying is very important from a public health standpoint, and I appreciate that. Thank you. Now let's kind of go a little bit deep dive into each of your individual backgrounds. Can you speak about that? And how you all came together as a team to go for this big idea competition. And I know that's the first step towards commercialization. So maybe after that, we could talk a little bit about the commercialization arc as well.
All right. So Hebah here. So as for myself, I've always had an interest for math and science. And I also had a passion for helping people and engaging where I can make a change or I can make a difference in someone's life. And so with that, I chose biomedical engineering as something to pursue in my life because it allowed me to bridge that medicine and engineering into one thing. And so during undergrad, I had a few projects regarding ophthalmology, and I also had a pharmaceutical background as a pharmacy tech. And with that, I got all the experience with ophthalmology and research and understanding really problems in between. Later on, once I graduated, I actually became a research and development engineer at Bioengineering. It's a company with medical and pharmaceutical background, and it's the leader for infusion therapy pumps. Right now, we're actually working on creating a device that's ambulatory to help patients, at home or somewhere away from a hospital setting. And so with that, I see that I can bridge most of the things that I'm learning as a research and development engineer at Bibron into something with Glaucomedi, because we're both working on taking a device to market. I'm also a master's student in biomedical engineering at UT Dallas. And I'm really proud of that because it's, all the skills, everything that I'm just going through with my classes as a student in my, industry background, it's always leading me towards pushing my understanding into Glaucomedi and making sure that I'm putting it number one.
My interest has been in glaucoma for over 30 years. We have a huge number of patients at UT Southwestern and Parkland Hospital, Children's Hospital, and the VA Hospital. So there's a great demand for treating glaucoma. And over the years, we train 9 residents every year, 2 glaucoma fellows, and I've been working with international fellows as well, who spend 1 year with me or 2 years doing research. So beside that, I am involved with a lot of charitable work. Have done surgeries almost in every continent, and I was dismayed and discouraged because the shunt surgery, which I believe should be very successful and very predictable, was not there. And as I mentioned before, our group met at the UT Southwestern Biomed Hackathon in November 2019, and that's where we got all started.
So, Jacob here. I just want to say I'm a senior biomedical engineering student here at UT Dallas, and starting in fall 2020, I'll be pursuing a dual MD, PharmD at Texas Tech. And I've done research in ophthalmology for the last 5 years, from institutions like Texas A&M, UT Dallas, UT Southwestern, Stanford. And so I've had, interest in ophthalmology for quite some time now. And when I heard about the problems facing glaucoma specialists today, I realized that the application of my research in microfluidics with Dr. Schmicke's lab here at UTD and wound healing and medical device development that I've been engaging with the Department of Bioengineering, I realized that struck, our passion to start developing devices and entrepreneurship. And I've launched several startups. I had my first startup when I was 17 in the healthcare and AI sector. And I've launched, 5 since. And so entrepreneurship has always been something I've been attracted to. And I feel like, UT Dallas has given me the platform with our team to go ahead and really inspire us to innovate and take this to the next level. And so that's why we're really excited to see how we can continue engaging with UT Dallas Department of Bioengineering and the wonderful clinicians we have here, and also Blackstone Launchpad and the Venture Development Center to take this, to the next level.
Thank you for giving us the diversity in your backgrounds and helping us understand that you need a multidisciplinary background to essentially design and develop a medical device. So let me ask you then a follow-on question to that. How have you been able to leverage the environments at UTD and UT Southwestern towards achieving the level of success you have? And how, in your mind, does innovation and entrepreneurship help you advance in what you see as your personal as well as professional career?
We were able to collaborate with physicians from UT Southwestern, engineers from UT Dallas, scientists from both UTD and UT Southwestern, and create such a dynamic and passionate team, multidisciplinary team working together to solve one problem, and that is innovating the current failing treatment modalities, whether it's a shunt or whether it's the way we're delivering these shunts to patients. And, UT Southwestern enable us to have access to cutting-edge research and technology to solve these problems. As a premier institution committed to clinical science, and UTD's, fearless bioengineers and basic scientists, who are ready to take on any challenge that come their way. The collaboration between these two very different fields allowed us to find a common ground, a common problem, and exemplifies how clinicians and basic scientists can work together to change the landscape of the Dallas innovation ecosystem right here at UT Dallas. So, I think we have a lot of talent here in North Texas. And I think, our device and our startup sheds light on how these collaborations between UTD and UT Southwestern can be used to innovate, hundreds of other treatment modalities as well. Now, to answer your question about innovation entrepreneurship, as we know, we live in a highly competitive world. And so innovation is what really sets us apart from other mousetraps that may have not been as efficient, like Dr. Kooner was saying in the beginning of the podcast, to what we can achieve now with the advancements in technology. And so our goal is to really develop an umbrella of products, sort of a company, and not just one product. We really want to start developing multiple products that can revolutionize the entire ophthalmic medical device market. And so we've always done this, engineers and clinicians working together with the patients in mind. And we think that, for example, when I'm visiting Dr. Kooner in the Aston Clinic at UT Southwestern or the VA healthcare system, I've been able to meet dozens of his patients, and Dr. Kooner is doing the best he can to treat these patients with the treatment he has available. But we believe that we can continue building up upon these devices and building these outstanding products with innovation in mind. But innovation doesn't really just mean reinventing the wheel. We want to take the pre-existing treatments, the therapies, identify the key problems associated with them, and make our patients' road to better health possible by innovating these devices. And that's exactly what we've done here with Glaucomedi. We've learned from the collaboration between UTD and UT Southwestern, between bioengineering and clinical practice, that changing technology should be incorporated to help these patients. Here at Glaucomedi, our team, Dr. Kooner and Hebah, and our other engineers, we took our aptitude, our desire, our love for research and reading literature and identifying these problems, reading clinical, able to engage with something, like computational studies, in silico studies. And we're able to continue innovating and building our company, with all the resources we have available to us. For example, the mentors at UTD and UT Southwestern, or, the physicians and technical advisors who are helping us validate our ideas. And so that is the wonderful example of how we can all work together in this multidisciplinary ecosystem of engineers and physicians and entrepreneurs, and really, make a difference in these patients' lives. And that's what we're really excited about. And we look forward to creating hundreds of more collaborations between dozens of companies and individuals here in the next decade. And we're here to stay for the long term. So thank you.
Yeah, I think Jacob answered that very well. To add on to that, I think the resources that we've gotten from both sides, whether it's from a UT Southwestern Medical Center or from UT Dallas, has been outstanding. I mean, we've gotten to meet with a lot of people within entrepreneurship space, as well as people from the clinical space that were just able to tell us really what the problems they faced in the clinic and how we can make it better. With our device, or how we can, try to think of things differently when it comes to the clinical standpoint. Another thing is that UT Southwestern has always helped out when it came to writing grants, for example. Although we've all been in the research background, they've allowed us to, work with grant specialists and resources that would help us make an excellent pitch at one point. And we do definitely appreciate that here at Glaucomedi.
Let me ask the final question. What's next for Glaucomedi? What happens now? Now that you have some visibility with this BIC win, some resources, where do you go from here?
That's a great question. To be very completely honest with you, we are at the early stages, and there's going to be so many bumps along the way for us, and we're ready to tackle on that. With that said, we do have the vision of a successful run company that meets the needs for the patients with our own expertise and with our growing experience in the biomedical industry as well as in, the entrepreneurship space and becoming a startup. With that, we want to collaborate a lot with institutions for ophthalmology research. And in the next 5 years, we do want to fully commercialize our medical devices. And under, of course, the regulatory bodies like FDA and the EU. We hope to also witness, the use of our product into the hands of ophthalmologists. And that's I think, what we're all looking forward to at the end of the day is to see it happen in action right there and in the moment.
Wonderful explanation, Hebah. And Dr. Kooner and Hebah and I, we always joke around and say we want to be the Tesla of the glaucoma innovation. And it is unfortunate how clinicians, these surgeons don't have reliable devices that they can implant in their patients. And so the future of Glaucomedi, we want to continue developing products, in the ophthalmic medical device sector to help these patients. And we're working on some really high-tech novel contact lenses, for example, where we can, engage in diagnostics. And so the future of our startup, we want to continue making an impact in this market. And we're really confident that our products can go ahead and help these patients on their better path to health. In the next 5 years, we hope to continue collaborating with startup companies and other manufacturers here in the Dallas area and across the nation. For example, we had the chance to collaborate with Dr. Voigt's group, also in the Department of Bioengineering, with his startups, Adaptive 3D and Qualia, where now we're working together to fine-tune our materials, and we're applying for various grants together, like an SBIR, to make that happen. So we have a long road ahead of us, but we are all energetic and excited to see how we can make this happen. And we are here for the long term, like I said before. We are passionate and ready to take this to the next level. And we want to continue, working with the Department of Bioengineering here at UTD for the years to come, to really, continue innovating our products.
Well, I wish you all the very best. This team is simply amazing, and we are looking forward to seeing what great new heights you will all scale. And hopefully, in the timeline that you have all indicated, we get to see the impact of your innovation. And it is truly, the vision of a clinical problem identified by a clinician, where the partnership between engineering and medicine begins. And it really builds together. And we are so happy that it has evolved from our local ecosystem of the two sister institutions, UTD and UT Southwestern. And we hope to see many more like you. And we wish you all the very best. Thank you so much for your time and this lovely chat. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Prasad.
Thank you so much for your time and for having us today. As we say at UTD, the future is bright. And so we're looking forward to all the enjoyment that we have.